We are looking here at part of a concept design for a site, and we're looking here at the front garden area, and the width of the site in this design is indicated by some application of some dimensioning. Our preference is to put the dimension information on a separate layer, because then it can be turned on or off within floating viewports in layout space. But what's been done here is that a piece of text is just sitting above the dimension. And it's a really good idea to tie the text to the dimension. So what we could do in here is select a piece of text and put in a text override. So the designer here wants to indicate that probably it's just approximately 18.3 meters, and that's now going to override that text. So we hit enter and that burns it in, and if we unselect all, there's the 18.3. I would now be inclined to look at the dimension style. It's dimension style standard, so I'd now be inclined to go into dimensions, dimension styles. I would list them all, and we're looking here at style standard, and our text height is too small, so we probably want to change it from 125 to 350, and we'll OK that, and you can see now that the text height is now correct. We could change the text style, the actual font style as well if we needed to, but conventionally just using a standard text font works quite well. If I right click and pick dimension style again, I could improve the geometry by pushing that dimension arrowhead to maybe 300, and now you can see the arrowheads there. You could extend the line that on that dimension that goes past the arrowhead in the same way. So here's our geometry. It's extending beyond the dimension line 50. We could make that, I'll exaggerate a little, 200, and we could sit this one maybe 100 units off the point of origin. Can you see now how that extends? If I pick the dimension, there's a space there that looks a little ugly to me, so I'll take it out, and that looks fine. My preference, of course, is not to override the dimension at all, but that's looking much better. So I'd now be inclined to create a new layer, maybe call it LDIM, and then move that dimension to it. The other thing I notice with this drawing, if we go to File and File Size, the file size is huge. Most GCAD Plus drawings of this type would be about 600 kilobytes in size, and this one's 6,690, so it's 10 times bigger than it needs to be. The drawing is carrying an awful lot of baggage, so how do we remove and reduce that baggage? Well, that's best done by a tool. On the drop-down tools menu, we can purge unused objects. I'll illustrate how that works by going into the block library. Can you see I'm looking at one called Nordic that's been added, and I could just click delete, and if I look at another one here called Modern, I could delete it. So rather than go laboriously through all of these and delete them, I'll close, and what I'll do is go to this tool, Purge Unused Objects, and things go quiet for the moment, but 188 blocks or symbols are sitting in this drawing and not actually being used. And remember, they can be brought back at any time from the library, and go and get any symbol that you might like and drag it in from the library. So if we now save that and go back to file size, we've come down from 6,600 to 346. So there's a massive, massive decrease. This drawing will now perform really, really snappily. So there are a couple of things to note there: improving the dimensioning styles. I've also brought in a scale bar that's complete entity, rather than, as was before, it was made up of two sections. So we're slowly working towards getting this drawing into a state so that it works really efficiently.